All right, this is me, Pastor Dowell. From time to time, I'll sit here on the couch and I'll do a video at night because I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to, I am relaxing. But yesterday's Sabbath sermon is still, the beginning part of it is still ringing. It's ringing heavily in my mind. And one of the quotes or one of the statements I continue to keep making is that I kept saying, I am seriously concerned. I am extremely concerned about our children in the next generation coming. And of course, for most of you who have faint heart and faint ears and you faint whenever truth is being told, it wouldn't do good for you to go listen to that particular sermon. But for those of you who heard it, y'all get where I'm coming from. And right now, I tell you, when I look at this society, and I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. Every society is doomed to failure where women haven't been empowered. You don't believe me? Go check out history. Look at history of the nations. Just look at biblical history. Look how all the falling of everything started. And I know that a lot of people are not interested in facts, but I'm telling you the truth. And look at America right now. Why is it in a decline? Because of the way that a lot of these simp and feminine men has done empower the woman, and now that roles has been reversed. Now she's masculine and the men are feminine. It's just something else. Now, of course, I do have an answer from the scriptures of what really needs to happen. Do y'all remember when the Most High used Moses as a deliverer to deliver the children of Israel, the sons of Jacob, out of the Mizraim, out of Egypt, the house of bondage? And as they were going on their journey to the promised land, of course, they had to wander in the wilderness for 40 years because they murmured and complained. Oh, they were overwhelmed and overjoyed at the fact that they were getting out of the house of bondage. But no sooner as they got in the wilderness and start their murmuring and complaining, the first thing they remembered was the onions, the leeks, and the garlics of Egypt, and start complaining against the Most High and the deliverer Moses. And the whole entire nation was so rebellious and so stubborn and so stiff-necked. Yah still kept his promise about them entering into the promised land. They even pissed off Moses so much that when Moses was supposed to speak to the rock, he actually smoked the rock because of his anger towards the people of being so stiff-necked, stubborn, and rebellious, to the point that Moses himself didn't even get to go to the promised land. But one thing that Moses did do was he was able to view the promised land on top of a mountain afar off. But when you look at it, Joshua and Caleb was the only ones. Joshua and Caleb was the only ones that actually, of that generation, was actually the only ones that made it to the promised land. Think about that for a second. So what was what was Yah's solution? All the stiff-necked and rebellious and stubborn people, let them wander and let them die off. And because there was only 2 people out of that generation that actually came in. I'm asking today, who are the Joshuas and Calebs? Because there wasn't one righteous woman that was included in that. Of course, that's what the book says too. He said, I looked out among me and found one man among 1,000, but a woman I found not. I know that people, they gloss over those scriptures. They don't even want to read that, but it's a fact. Y'all don't see the moral decay of this society. Y'all don't see the spiritual bankrupts of this society, this world. Y'all don't see what's happening and how that the more that a woman has a voice, the more spiritual decline we go in, the more divorce rate goes up, the more single parent homes we have, the more that we're lacking father figures in families because of the masculinity of the women. And femininity is just off the chart, or feminism is off the chart. And so Y'all's solution was, and I know y'all remember me saying that I'm seriously concerned about this next generation, but y'all's solution is that everybody that came out of Egypt, all of them had to die. All of them had to perish in the wilderness and not go into the promised land, because if you let them into that promised land with that kind of mindset, they would defile it. They would tear it up. It wouldn't be a sanctified place no more, because they refused to be transformed. They refused to be conformed. And so a lot of times people are trying to save folks that just simply don't want to be saved. They're trying to deliver people that don't want to be delivered. They're going to hold on to their opinion. They're going to hold on to their perspective. They're going to hold on to their way. They're going to hold on to their theology and ideology. But I'm telling you, hey, them rebellious, stubborn, stiff-necked Israelites that made a golden calf in that wilderness, always trying to justify everything and try to twist it as if we wasn't really meaning it for that. But I tell you what, y'all answered by killing every single one of them in the wilderness and only letting 2 from that generation enter into the promised land. And I'm asking right now, who's the Joshuas and Calebs of the day? Huh? Who's the Joshua and Calebs of the day? Because I think our solution in this daytime and hour is the people that are almost, I hate to say this, but it's just the truth. The people that are 20 years and upwards in this world, in this society, in this generation, man, it's better just to go ahead and just let them go and die off. Those of us who are the old hats and stuff that been around for a while, man, we know righteousness when we see it. We've lived righteousness for a long, long time. We've lived set apart. We got a legacy that's not only behind us, but one is coming, just going on in front of us. We have tried to show people through sacrifice, through commitment, through honor, through work ethic, through worship, through praise, all of this. And yet it's still just not sticking. So the best thing to do is just, you can't worry about the rebels. You can't worry about the goats. You just got to let them go die. You got to let them die off because of their own way. Let their own way be their own demise, and pour into the generations of children that they have had and make an impact on them. You just literally have to start the slate over clean, because I don't have no hope for this generation. If somebody tell me I'm wrong, because I know I'm not wrong, there's no hope. You go on Facebook and you look at people and see what they be doing and stuff, and some of the videos I have to make, and you look at the religious people of today, so stiff-necked and stubborn and dishonorable. And why should the Most High let these people into his promised land? They don't keep the commandments. They're not trying to exalt holiness in any way, shape, fashion, or form. They're not trying to make sure that his laws, statutes, and commandments and rules and guidelines are exalted more to the zenith. No woman is actually trying to be a woman of a meek and quiet spirit. Carol, somebody's at this door. Come get this door while I'm doing this video. Nobody's trying to be a woman of a meek and quiet spirit. No, they're too bitter, too vindictive, too full of malice, too full of envy and jealousy and strife. And that's why I said, why should a man put up with something like that? Why should a man put up with something like that? It makes no sense. He shouldn't have to put up nothing like that. And if you do, it's because you choose to. You tolerate it, especially with so many people here in this world. I'm telling you, you just got to let these people that are stubborn and rebellious and stiff-necked, you got to let them perish. You got to let them go. And focus on the ones that are obedient. Focus on the ones that you can see that is actually making a change and transformation. And don't sit up and try to save something that is doomed to be lost. Most of the people today are sons of perdition. They have the spirit of Antichrist working in them. I mean, I was just sitting up here on YouTube going through a couple of these little discussions that people have. And I sit and watch the spirit, how bold. And these people will swear up and down that they love Jesus. Swear up and down they go to church. Swear up and down they, all the stuff like that. And when you hear the spirit that comes out of these women today, though, and then the first thing they'll do is deflect and never take responsibility or ownership in anything that of any truth that I say. They'll try to change the subject. They'll try to deflect. They'll try to put forth the finger rather than dealing with the truth that I'm speaking so they can deal with themselves. because they love insulating themselves from the truth and love insulating themselves from change. And women's supposed to be the first line teachers. Men, you better be careful about who you have seed with. Be extremely careful who you have seed with, because this generation is gone. This generation right here is getting primed and ready to serve the Antichrist, to serve the bad and sin. And there's only going to be few of us that are actually going to go into the promised land. Focus your attention and pouring into these children, training them up in the way that they should go. Keep them unspotted from the world. Keep the world away from them. Everything you can. You know what righteousness is. This generation just don't. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. Man, but I'm speaking the truth. Let's get with it. Now, I know I'm telling the truth. I know I'm speaking the truth. Women just entirely too masculine. I said it once, I said it again. Every single empire, every single country, and even especially from the very fall of man, from the very beginning of time and existence with Adam and Eve, whenever a woman got empowered, or whenever a society empowered them, you better believe the destruction is just right around the corner. Henceforth, that's why America's in the shape that it's in today. You just heard the truth, and the truth straightway.